A little science, a little magic. That's what our guest is going to share with us today, and that's what goes into a great meeting, according to Jon Petz. Jon, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much.
Good to talk to you. You, not recently, wrote a book called what?
Boring meetings suck.
Boring meetings suck.
It's right to the point. You know, you got to hit them right between the eyes.
Exactly. And could you tell a little bit of the history behind that book? And why you are now making meetings unsucky?
Well, the quick history and a brief story was sales and marketing professional. I was literally the sales guy who was sick and tired of being sick and tired of meetings that would suck the energy out of my day because I wanted to be out producing as opposed to in a meeting that was going through operations of stuff I didn't care about. So lo and behold, the company eventually asked me, hey, will you do an effective meeting workshop? And I did, and it kind of grew from there, and it's a take no prisoners approach to how to get engaged, focused, results-driven meetings.
If we were to say of 100% of meetings, and I understand, Jon, we're talking about two different meetings. One is the company be in my office, be in the conference room at 4 o'clock for a meeting.
Right.
The other, of course, is the meeting planner, large events. We'll talk about both.
Sure.
But first, in terms of company meetings, because all the planners who not only plan big meetings also have to go to little meetings.
They're internal.
What, first of all, of 100% of meetings, what percent really suck?
It depends who you ask. USA Today front cover not too long ago was 82% of people report that their time in meetings are wasted or abused because of bad preparation, no follow-up, or just a plain do-over meeting, which is because you're having a meeting because you didn't get it done on your last meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
And so almost, well, over 8 out of 10 meetings are pure waste of time. And is the responsibility for that the meeting planner or the attendees who come unprepared to participate, or who owns the responsibility?
Great question. The answer is both. And actually, it's the contrarian view that I wrote the book. I was the attendee that came forward and says, even if you're not facilitating that meeting, here are some SRDs in the book. That's a suckification reduction device.
Okay. Hang on.
All right, go ahead.
Suckification reduction device.
That's what those are the nuggets. Those are the gems in the book. Yeah.
All right.
But it was written from the standpoint, even if you're not in control of that meeting, here are some true and effective ways where you can help get the meeting back on track without, dissing your facilitator and get the job done. Or if not, I'm going to teach you how to get out without getting fired.
So I've got a doctor's appointment or something, or there's a
a lot
fire
of good
down the
ways.
lobby, or
Times.
Do you think, Jon, that a lot of people have meetings because it's just something to do instead of actually doing something?
Well, it depends what industry, but yes, in some cases.
There is some of that, I would imagine, where it seems like a good thing. Let's have a meeting.
Well, it's the default answer. Well, we need to talk to Jim in marketing and this. Well, let's get a meeting together. Let's have a conference call. Then we all have this ad hoc meeting with really no mission, no defined outcomes of what we're going to do. And because of that, then we've got pretty much zero focus sometimes. And you have the people that complain about it. What'd you do all day? Well, 80% of my day was in meetings, 15% of it was email, and I have to do my real work at home. Such is the case.
Do you think management gets it? C-level, executive management realizes the waste that meetings represent?
Again, some variables in there. A lot of times, potentially no, in terms of the active, productive time that can be abused. And I call them everyday office meetings. Right. And you mentioned as well, there's the big conventions. That's a different puzzle.
Right.
But in terms of your everyday, but everyday office, I bet most would be surprised in terms of what actually happens in the meetings on a daily basis.
If you went around a room and took everyone's loaded cost and said, every minute that we were in this meeting, it's costing X amount of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
You'd look at it from the bottom line standpoint.
And there's calculators that'll tell you that, which is fascinating. Right. Type in someone's salary, how many people in the room, and it calculates it.
So just one tip, not a suckification reduction device necessarily, but one tip, if I get a call in 10 minutes saying, we're going to meet in the conference room for a meeting, so just give me one thing I can say that gets me out of that.
That gets you out of it?
Yeah, get me out of it.
You obviously could have a filled calendar, you have a prior commitment. I call it there's a FIFO principle. You could call ahead and say, listen, I really don't have time, but I'll be there for the first 30 seconds to share my input. If you do that, you're the first in, you're the first out, because you've told the facilitator, I can't be there. It's the FIFO get out of meeting principle. And then you can at any time basically stand up, walk out the door, and just kind of be like, thank you.
Remember,
and everyone else is like, what?
How did he get out?
It's FIFO. Yeah?
Smart, very smart. Okay, let's now having said that, let's
now
move
on a real scale.
Now to the larger plane, which is the large group meeting attendance conventions, where a planner doesn't want the meeting to suck. In fact, a planner's career might depend on it not sucking. When you talk to large group attendees, what do they say about a sucky meeting? Is there a common complaint you hear? I mean, too long, the subject was too dry, the presenters weren't prepared? Or...
And I think a lot of it will come back. I mean, your planner will hire potential presenters, or they'll have their CEO talk. And you can't really tell your CEO, hey, you're not going to share the stage, even if they're a bad speaker, but some could be very good speakers. But it comes down to the engagement, the emotional flow of presentations, how you can take a story or a point or objective and have it be relevant to an audience and not just throw up a slide after slide of bullet points and cutesy moving graphics to try to demonstrate something. What can we do that creates an emotional tie to what we're trying to accomplish? And in a big setting, that's what gets us engaged.
Where do you see the future going? I mean, do you believe that with all this technology and all the devices people are carrying, that will become farther and farther, or harder and harder to connect?
In some regards, connect personally one-to-one. I think that can be tough. I think some of the newer generation, if I can call it that, they're so good with their texting capabilities that I'm fearful of some of their personal one-to-one contact in meetings.
Right.
Meetings are not going away. Sucky meetings are not going to go away. They're just not. But I think how we can work together to, go back to what is the real mission of why we're coming together and what is the real outcome. If we focus on that coming together, then we at least know what our hopes are, what our desires are, so we can have a get in, get it done, get out style meeting and be effective.
Yeah, because it is important to remember, as I said earlier, you don't come in just to do jokes and magic.
No.
You're delivering a point. You're just delivering it wrapped in a very intriguing, interesting kind of way. So
we could give you a demo. Well,
maybe in another show. Not that I wouldn't like it, but just to, so we deal with everybody, even those people who are dealing with healthcare associations, with insurance, with underwriters. It can all be interesting and engaging, no matter what the category.
That's true.
I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
There was a question in there, but I think.
Was it?
I think that was in there somewhere.
Yes.
And what? Just one last tip. What should people do to prepare for unsucky meetings? Any tip? I mean, when they start.
As a facilitator or as an attendee?
As a facilitator.
As a facilitator, make sure you have the right people invited. Don't fall for the over-invitation syndrome, which is getting too many people into that if they're not stakeholders. They can be informed after the case. And give everyone, even if you don't do an agenda, write a one-sentence why we're coming together and a one-sentence what we're going to walk out the door with as a result of this meeting.
So be clear in your outcomes.
Be clear.
Terrific. We've been speaking with Jon Petz, who's shown us so many ways to bring interest and get people to pay attention in meetings.